Let's go back to bigger picture and investing, and the cyclical upturn, of course, tends to generate inflation fears. But where did that go in recent months? Paul Ashworth from Cameron Harrison joins us again. Good morning. Nice of you to join us today, Paul. So
thank you.
We've seen a couple of mini cycles so far this year, haven't we? We've seen deflation trade, inflation trade, and now we just seem to be waiting for the Fed. But just to kick off with that payrolls number, surely there was nothing in there that doesn't mean the economy is getting some traction.
I agree with that, and yes, it feels like you and I are riding the waves here, Annette. But yeah, look, I think the environment that we find ourselves in at the moment is one of lull. The measures, in terms of break-even inflation, I think equity markets are still reasonably buoyant. I think we can say that we're in pause, not in not in a permanent state where the reflation and inflation expectations won't again become a bigger issue as we leave 2021 and move into 2022. And as you rightly point out, in jurisdictions such as the US and in the UK, we're seeing that traction play out.
Well, actually, we'll turn to the UK because it's this rather brave social experiment to just let everybody go with 50% vaccination. Are you, as an investor, looking at what's happening there as to how the rollouts will be across the globe?
Sure. Well, I think it's our one place that we can have a look at, where we share similarities, in terms of economic and political and social system and culture, and the early signs are certainly promising, both from a vaccination perspective. They obviously have the situation where natural antibodies and infection rates are pretty significant. The combination of those things tend to be showing a way forward. And of course, here in Australia, we've seen that narrative more come to the fore over the last few weeks in terms of vaccination. Infection rates of themselves need to be looked at in conjunction with hospitalisation rates and serious illness. So yes, the UK is showing some signs and some light as to what things might look at here. Certainly it's a jurisdiction that we've been long focused to. We've been investing as part of our international equity strategy over 15 years. We can see where in the graph that you've just put up there, in terms of the US, and just that lull in the reflation trade, it's pretty stunning. Where in the first half of the year, energies, financials, materials, industrials, we're ripping ahead. That's now given way to a significant pause, particularly to those most cyclically exposed sectors in terms of energies and financials, and we can see the sharp return to information technology. We think that that is a pause position, particularly in segments, cyclical segments that we like in terms of the industrials side of things. We think that the lull will see our way forward to that reflation trade and inflation as an issue re-emerging through early 2022 and through the rest of next year.
And another sector that has your eye, you've deemed it the smart industrial sector. What is that, and are there any names that could give us an idea of what to look at going forward?
Sure. Our coining of the term smart industrials is not the Rust Belt type manufacturing industrials. They're the industrials that employ significant amounts of technology in their automations in terms of their processes and the way that they do businesses. So yes, they're producers of product, but they're really the leading high productivity type smart industrials, Annette. So businesses that we see in that are Croda International in the UK, a very clever additives, industrial additives business. Howden Joinery in the UK, in the US, a similar type of business to Wes Farmers over there is the Carlyle group of companies, Parker Hannifin, Illinois Tools. They're businesses that have been around a long time, but they've very much instilled smart technology over the last 10 to 15 years, and they're super productive businesses. And we can see that in terms of how they're performing. Their businesses that even since that mid-May point, and that that reflection back into information technology. We've seen those businesses, Croda's up 35% since mid-May. Howden Joinery, Cranswick, very well-run, clever businesses in the UK, and that's why we do see that there is a good light ahead in terms of those businesses, particularly also in the US and in Australia through 2022.
And one thing that I guess it sort of runs with that is at the moment we're saturated with goods, right? Because it's the only thing we can do. So is the 12-month view back to services, and not just travel, but services like cleaners, facials, hairdressers, for heaven's sake. There will be a services sector absolute rebound in the coming 12 months as well.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, Annette. And it's with that we strike a note of caution in terms of inflation, particularly out of the US. The inflation, inflation data in the US is very much led by those services sector. One sector in particular that we focused on is accommodation, which is really the singularly most important services component for inflation, and for us, potential significant wages pressure. We say in terms of finished goods in the US, finished goods is $870 billion in the US, but the US economy is $22 trillion. So we can see that goods are important, but they're a small component. As you said, it's services that'll lead next year, and it's services that we really need to be mindful of and watchful of in terms of significant inflation breakout.
Well, unfortunately, we've got time to pause and assess at the moment while we're all in lockdown. Thank you so much for joining me today, Paul Ashworth from Cameron Harrison.
Thanks, Annette. Have a good day.